Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my channel. It's called Food for HNM. It's like food for thought. But HNM means something like homeless, no more. But what I mean by homeless is you always have a place in heaven, and if you accept Jesus, because he said, before he left, because he died on the cross, he died on the cross, he rose from the dead, he spent some time here, and then he flew back into heaven. He flew back up into heaven. It was called ascending. And he said, before he left, I go to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house, there are many rooms in his mansion. But I think, a mansion is, there are these higher ways of thinking. There are many rooms in my Father's mansion. It's like saying, I have a 500-foot yacht. I call it my little dinghy or my boat. Because God is powerful and he's rich. And how big is the universe? And there might be many heavens, and each heaven bigger than our entire universe. So he could be saying that in heaven there are many planets, maybe, or in the heavens with the S, there are many, levels of heaven, and there's much room. There's so much room there, like sometimes on the earth, when I go to a restaurant, you gotta wait, and you gotta compete with people, and sometimes you sit at the bar, and there's hardly any room there. But, in heaven, there will be so much room. And there's even more room to spare for many people who want to, go to heaven. So we shouldn't be selfish and let other people also come in. But sometimes you wonder, am I good enough? There's room for you too. Okay, Numbers 21. Arad is destroyed. This is 21. Numbers. The book of Numbers in the Old Testament of the Holy Bible. So a Caananite, the king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard Israel was coming by the way of Atharim. He fought against Israel. So took some of them captive. And Israel vowed a vow to the Lord and said, if you will indeed give this people into my hand, then I will devote their cities to destruction. Destruction means set apart. Also, destruction means consecrate, set apart, devoted as an offering to the Lord. And the Lord heeded the voice of Israel and gave over the Canaanites. So they won in a little battle, and they devoted them and their cities to destruction. So the name of the place was called Hormah. And Ha'orma means destruction. The bronze serpent, that is the title of the next section. From Mount Ha'or they set out by the way to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. Remember, Edom would not let them pass through. So they have to go around Edom. And the people became impatient, and the people spoke again against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There's no food, no water. We loathe this worthless food. Then the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, so that many people of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents." So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, "Make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten, when he sees it, shall live." You know, they probably were not actual snakes. See, I have some insight, prophetic gifting, man. But everyone does. Everyone has prophetic gifting. These fiery serpents, they could be a different kind of Kadosh Malakim. Remember, the Kadosh Malakim, they're these holy angel warriors. They were a cloud of, a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire. And I don't know what they look like, but they look like fire probably. And they looked probably long, something like that. And he just somehow bit people. So, could you imagine that, being burnt a little by a tongue of fire or something? It looks like a long tongue of fire. You're out in the desert, and you think you're hallucinating. They're like whips of fire. What are these things? And then he just hit you, and burn you a little. And then some of them got burnt. And they died, Some people think they might be what are called seraphim. There's descriptions of seraphim in Isaiah 6. We'll get there. Spoiler alert. So the Lord said to Moses, make one of these and put it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten, when he sees it, shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on the pole. So it probably just looked like because remember, they're not really supposed to create images of things they don't understand. But if God tells them to, then you do it, I guess that's the difference. There's this commandment that, thou shalt not create for yourself the image of anything in the heavens above and on the earth and the waters below. But remember when they made the Ark of the Covenant, this box with a cover to hold the 10 Commandments, God gave instructions to put Kodosh Malakim on the cover. And now he's telling Moses to make some kind of whip of fire out of bronze and then attach it to a pole. So when people looked at it, they won't die. So you know what's going on? People think God is that nice. There are these They were whips of fire. Could you imagine just like fire floating in the air, but it looks like a whip? And they just kept whipping people. And people are like, I'm getting burned. It feels like a bite. And then a lot of them were dying. So Moses made this whip of fire out of bronze and put it on a pole. So they wouldn't die, but they were probably still getting whipped. There's another one. What is that thing? It's like a whip of fire. It's coming. At least we won't die. Ouch. And so they lived, and so Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on a pole. And if a serpent, I think they look like whips of fire. And if a serpent bit anyone, he would look at the bronze serpent and live. The song of the well. And the people of Israel set out and camped in Oboth. And they set out from Oboth and camped at Lai Abarim in the wilderness that is opposite Moab, toward the sunrise. From there they set out and camped in the valley of Zered. From there they set out and camped on the other side of the Ammon or Arnon. Let's take a closer look. Oh, it has to be Ammon because there's Ammonites there. Other side of Ammon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites. For the Ammon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, Waheb in Suphah, and the valleys of the Ammon, and the slope of the valleys, that extends to the seat of Ar, and leans to the border of Moab. And from there they continued to Beer. That is the well of which the Lord said to Moses, Gather the people together, so that I may give them water. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up, O well, sing to it, the well that the princes made, that the nobles of the people dug, with the scepter and with their staffs. And from the wilderness they went on to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley, to the valley lying in the region of Moab, by the top of Pisgah, that looks down on the desert. The desert, or Jesimon. King Sihon defeated. So let's look at this. We could see that they are out of the desert now, and they came to the land of Edom. You have to watch my earlier video. And now they fought one battle, and they were whipped by fire whips, or kadosh malakim, or snakes bit them. And they drank at a well. And now they're ready to fight again, another battle. The Amorites, they're going to fight the Amorites. So Israel sent messengers. Remember, this is ancient Israel. It's not the same Israel as today. Today's Israel is modern day Israel. It was a country of people started in 1949. So the messengers went to Sihon, king of the Amorites, and said, "Let me pass through your land. We will not turn aside into field or vineyard. We will not drink the water of a well. We will go by the king's highway." That means he's telling this king, "We will stay on the main highway until we have passed through your territory." But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his territory. He gathered all his people together and went out against Israel to the wilderness and came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel defeated him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land from the Ammon to the Jabbok, as far as to the Ammonites, for the border of the Ammonites was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel settled in all the cities of the Amorites. Wait a minute. Okay. There's some confusion here. So Israel fought the Amorites, and there's another group called the Ammonites. And the Ammonites live next to the Amorites. So Israel settled in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand as far as the Ammon. Therefore the ballad singers say, "Come to Heshbon, let it be built, let the city of Sihon be established, for fire came out from Heshbon, flame from the city of Sihon. It devoured Ar of Moab, and swallowed the heights of the Ammon. Woe to you, O Moab! You are undone. You are undone, O people of Chemosh, or Chemosh. He has made his sons fugitives and his daughters captives to an Amorite king, Sihon. So we overthrew them, Heshbon, as far as Dibon perished, and we laid waste as far as Nophah. Fire spread as far as Medeba. And which is as far as Medeba. As far as Medeba. So this is a song. We see their culture here. When they are so happy they found a well, they sang it. They made up a song and sang that song. And then when they won a battle, they made up a song and sang that song. Now the title of the next passage is King Og, O-G, defeated. Thus Israel lived in the land of the Amorites, and Moses sent to spy out Jazer, and they captured its villages and dispossessed the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up by the way to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei, or Edrei, or Edrai, or Rei, Aryeh. But the Lord said to Moses, remember, if you watch my earlier videos, Moses is the person whom God told to go to Egypt and bring your own people out of Egypt and lead them to a new place. At this point, Moses' older siblings have passed away. But Moses, he was a military general and also Egyptian royalty. The Lord is saying to Moses, or said to Moses, do not fear the king Og, for I have given him into your hand and all his people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon. So they defeated him, Og, King Og, and his sons, and all his people, until he had no survivor left, and they possessed his land. Thank you for listening. It's getting exciting. Some of you may be of the female persuasion, and you don't get into battles and movies with fighting and war. But I must say, the Bible is full of many love stories. There's a book called The Song of Songs. It's very, I hear, romantic, and the verbiage in there makes you swoon. SWOON. So please keep coming back to my channel, and I would like to also teach you a prayer. It's called the Serenity Prayer. It is a Christian prayer. It goes like this. God the Creator, or Lord Jesus, or Lord or God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change these things. The courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In Jesus' name, amen, or amen. Thank you again, and keep God first. He'll take you places.